All right, today we're going to be doing page 82 Top H. All right, so looking here at page 82 Top H, we're going to use our strategy we talked about last time, which is building positive features first, then your negative features, then the fillets and rounds. So what we're going to do on this letter H is first we're going to make this L-shaped piece kind of here in the back, ignoring this cylinder. So we're going to make this L-shaped piece. Since we're going to do fillets and rounds last, we're going to again make this a square on this end. We're going to make it square down here on the bottom, and we're going to make it come out to about this position right in here. So we're just going to make this simple little L. For this, I visualize that this is 2 inches wide here, so I'm going to start by doing it 2 inches wide here, and then if we look at it, I think this portion is about twice as tall as this width, so I'm going to go 4 inches tall there. So the way that's going to look in CAD is this. All right, so here in CAD, I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to draw it 2 inches to the side, and I'm going to draw it 4 inches up. Okay, so that's got me to there. Now I'm going to take a look back at my drawing, and on my drawing, okay, so I thought this was 4 inches from here down to this portion here squared off. I think this is a little bit longer over to this portion, so I'm going to say this is 5 inches long here. And now I'm going to do two measurements here. So again, if I say this is 2 inches wide here, I'm going to say this is less. I'm going to go 1.5 inches. So again, that was here on CAD, 5 inches over to the right, and 1.5 inches up, 1.5 up. And then I'm just going to finish my little block out. All right, there I've got a nice little L-shaped piece. I'm going to go ahead and region that together. And then I'm going to extrude it. On the extrude, I'm going to go 1/2 inch thick. Whoa, let me turn this around a little bit here. Oh, you know what? I forgot one very first important step. My first important step that I forgot is, what view are we drawing this from? We're drawing this from the front plane. I never once changed the front plane. I'm currently on the top plane. So this is a good chance to show everybody this all at once. So if you didn't change to the front plane, which you probably didn't since I didn't tell you to, you're going to have to go here to the front plane. Well, first, before we go to the front plane, I'm going to select this thing, and I'm going to go Control-C to copy it. This looks like my front view that I want, but I'm currently on the top. So I'm going to change this to the top view, I'm going to change to the front view. I'm going to zoom out here a little bit. I'm going to go Control-V. I'm going to paste that in on the front view. So now, my front view is the front view of the object. It's looking great there. Now I'm going to go ahead and go back and extrude this object. And you know what? I think I did something. I don't know what I did. Extrude. There we go. Going to extrude that object 1/2 inch. I got 0.05. My goodness, I'm messing up this video for you guys. I'm going to extrude this object at 1/2 inch and get this done. My keys are not working well with me. There we go. Looks good. All right. With that, I'm going to get it changed to my conceptual view, get it into a nice orientation here, looking kind of like that, and then we're going to compare. All right. So comparing this, I think I made this too thin. I think this portion of 1/2 inch wasn't enough. So we just have to fix this. And sometimes I do these things kind of just show you how to fix some of these things, because you're going to make these same mistakes. So I'm going to use press pull, P-R-E-S, press pull. I'm going to pick that front surface, and I'm going to make it 1/4 inch thicker, 0.25. There we go. That's got that there now. Let's go ahead and go back here and look. I really think we're looking okay, at least okay for now until we get some other parts on there. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this circular part on, my next positive feature, which is this cylinder. So I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to pick my cylinder command, CYL is a shortcut, or you can go up above and pick it if you'd like. Now, for this, I'm going to go ahead and put this in orientation. I'm not going to worry about my Z's pointing out the front. I'm going to come up here with my dynamic UCS turned on. I highlight that top surface. I'm going to attach this right back here to this corner right there, that end point. And I'm going to put this cylinder on here. I'm going to make this cylinder a diameter, I'm going to hit D, of 2.5. The reason for 2.5 is I think it looks larger than this portion over here. So 2.5 diameter. If I look back here on my drawing again, if this was 1.5 inches thick, I think this is less. So 1 or 1 1/4. I think I'm going to go ahead and do 1. I've done it both ways in different classes. I think I'm going to go ahead and do 1. So I'm going to pull that down there 1 inch and have that like that. Now, our only problem is, if you look at this, the way I attach that, it doesn't attach the same way. This back part should be tangent here to it, and it's not. And I kind of did that on purpose just so I'd have something to attach it to. So what I'm going to do here is this, is I'm going to go move. I'm going to move my block. I'm going to move it from that quadrant right there to that end point right there. Now that is there, looking pretty good. Let me bring this back up. And I think I look pretty good. Now, again, I'm going to be a little bit picky here. And I think this is a little bit too small. If you look at it, this in comparison to this, I think it looks a little bit too small. I want to make it a little bit larger. Again, I'm going to show you a couple different ways of doing that. One, I can click right there. I can grab that grip. And I want to make it a 1/4 inch bigger in its diameter. So I'm going to make it 1/8 of an inch bigger here. I'm going to type in 0.125. That made it a little bit larger there. I can move this now once again. Again, that quadrant to, oops, I'm moving the whole thing. Let me try it again. Move that quadrant to right there. And that's got that lining up nicely, and I think the size is a little bit better. The other way you could have done this is you could have selected it here and came down here and changed the radius. Again, I wish it would show you the diameter here, but it does not. You could change the radius to the radius it says right there and change it to a 1.375 radius. That is 2 3/4 inch diameter. So there we go. And that looks pretty good. All right, so with that, I think you're ready to union it together. Before you union it, go ahead and change up your colors. I'm still going my Halloween theme since we're right there, since you guys are doing this on Halloween. And I'm going to union those two together on orange and black. And that really looks pretty good. Now, I forgot one part. But I want to show you a way of doing that. So when I look at this, you know, honestly, I think I've got it a little bit too long here. I think this portion is too long, but I already unioned it together. Now I could undo, but this gives me a great opportunity to show you another way of doing this. So before we had ununion, maybe press pull that end of it back and make it a little bit shorter. But I want to do it this way instead. I'm going to change to my straight on front view here. I'm going to use slice. I'm going to go SL for slice. I'm going to pick my object out there to slice, that object. I'm going to hit enter. It doesn't matter where I slice as long as I slice it straight. So I'm going to go there. I'm going to go straight down with my puller on. And I'm going to hit enter. I now slice that into 2 parts. I'm going to go move. And I'm going to slide this straight over again using puller 1/2 of an inch, so 0.5. Pick my base point down here below. And now I can just union those two things back together. And that thing is perfect. And it's 1/2 inch shorter, and it went right back together. You can't tell it. Now, one other thing you could do. Let's say you made the thing too short. You could slice it the same, and let's say move these things apart from each other. Something like that. And then you could use press pull. Oops, if I could spell press pull. Press pull, pull that over, and then union this back together. And you've got the same perfect thing. So again, a couple different ways of changing that up if you need to. I'm going to go back here and go ahead and just union those back together there to make this thing look really nice. All right, so once again, get that in there like that. Bring back up our drawing, and we got it looking pretty good. Now, the next things we have to do is, I need this hole ended up here. All right, so for this hole, I'm just going to make a cylinder. It's my first negative feature. I'm going to go cylinder, CYL. I'm going to bring my cylinder right up here to the surface. I'm going to make it go to the center. I'm going to have to force the center point. And once it's snapped to the center of the space and all that good stuff, I'm just going to type in CEN. Hover over that, making sure it's still highlighting that top surface blue, and click, and it gets my cylinder there. Now with this, I'm going to go diameter on this, and I want to pull it out right there. I think a 1.5 inch diameter is going to be close. So I'm going to go 1.5 diameter. I'm just going to pull my cylinder all the way through. Again, I want mine the Halloween color, so I'm going to change mine to orange, and I'm going to subtract it. And that made me a nice little hole there. Now you'll notice if you flip it upside down, it cut into this corner a little bit. That's okay. From your drawing here, you really don't know if it does that or not because you can't see the underneath side of it. when you look at it, you can't see that corner. So you really don't know what it's doing down there. All right. So now, what we have to do now is we have to put this slot in. The slot's here. Now I'm going to show you a couple things on the slot. I'm first going to go to my front view. First thing in your slot, let's say I'm going to just draw a slot. So first I'm going to draw a circle for one part of the slot right there. I'm going to copy the circle straight over, let's say to there. And I'm going to do some lines and connect the quadrant to quadrant and quadrant to quadrant. And then I'm going to trim out those centers. And then I'm going to region this thing. Oops, if I can spell region. And oh, my demo did not work well. I did not mean to do it quite that way. Let me try again here. I'm going to go circle. I want to show you our issue with doing it this way. Oh, and I know why. I wasn't thinking when I did this. I'm going to put my first circle right there on that corner of it, front surface of that. Now I'm going to go circle over here. And now I'm going to draw my line from quadrant to quadrant, quadrant to quadrant, trim them out. Then I'm going to try to region this. And you'll notice the origin created, it says objects must be coplanar. What it's doing to you there is this. Look, if you look at it straight this way. One of my circles was on one plane. One of my circles was on another plane. I don't like the way AutoCAD does things sometimes. What it did is when I drew my circle, it locked into this corner on that surface. And when I came over here, it locked into a whole new XY plane wherever that XY plane is. So all I'm trying to show you is this. If you're drawing something like that, come over here to the side, to the wide open. Don't O-snap, don't lock into anything. Draw a circle here. We are going to make this circle a diameter of 1. We're going to draw a line from the center of that circle. If I can get it attached to the center. To the center of that circle, I'm going to go over, or up, I should say, 1.5. And I'm going to draw another circle there at 1. I'm going to go ahead and put my lines in here from quadrant to quadrant and quadrant to quadrant. And we're going to trim this stuff out. I know I'm going awful fast here, but you guys can always back up and do this again. So there, I'm going to go ahead and region this together. Makes that a nice solid. I'm going to extrude it. When I extrude this, I'm going to extrude it plenty far. So I'm just going to pull my line out there a ways. Makes that thing way deeper, way longer than what I need, but it's going to make it there. Now, when we look at our drawing here, this is a nice, perfect curve. This space in between is the same here as it is here. It's because it's centered up on this. If you remember, we made this thing 2 inches wide. So that means the radius down here is 1 inch. And that means the center of this is at 1 inch. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a layout line. Oops, I did not mean to do that. We're going to come over to here. We're going to do a layout line. We're going to attach it right there to that front surface, to the midpoint of it, and draw it straight up 1 inch. Then I'm going to move my slot. I'm going to move the slot from the center of it to the end of that line right there. And I, again, want to change up my color. And I'm going to go subtract from the large object, and I'm going to subtract out that cylinder. I'm going to go ahead and erase out that line and make that beautiful right there. Okay, we've got that. Now, again, we already talked about this being wide there, 2 inches wide, so we're going to fill it. We're going to fill up this corner right here, pick on the line, remember? And we're going to fill that corner at 1. We're going to hit 1 and hit enter, enter. That fill ups that over nicely. Makes it white since that's the layer I'm on, but that's okay. I'm going to fill up this corner, that corner again at 1, so I'm just going to hit enter, enter. And that looks nice there. Okay. Now, once again, looking at our drawing, we're going to look at it. This corner up here, that's a bigger fillet than this one. So I'm going to say this one's 1.5. This fillet's a smaller fillet, so we're going to do it at 1/2. So I'm going to come back in here, spin it around. I'm going to go fillet that corner at 1.5. Enter, enter. And I'm going to fillet this inside corner at 0.5 and hit enter, enter. All right. It's got this thing looking pretty good. The only thing that we have left is making this little inside corner here. I'm going to fillet that at 0.25 because, again, I think it looks smaller yet. So we're going to rotate this around. We're going to go fillet. I'm going to pick that inside corner, and we're going to make it 0.25. Enter, enter. Now, this is a little nitpicky thing, but I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to do this bottom corner here also at 0.25. It's not really seen with this view that it's in, but if I was to design this piece, that's kind of the way I would do it.